Christmas store. And that's our volunteer activity as a congregation, a spiritual group here this particular month, quarter. Kim can tell you more about it. So I haven't done it before, but here's how my understanding is. So over 50 families an hour come through, and they need people to help guide them through and pick out all the free gifts. So a mother may come, and she has 2 children, but they're not there. They stay at home, and they need a guide to say, well, I need presents for a 5-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy and food pantry items, etc. So they need a guide to help them find those things. And those are the guides. And then there's the runners who help load the truck. So she's supposed to go get her car then and bring it around, and a runner takes those and helps load up the car. So since I haven't done it, how have I done explaining it?
Well, and you know, and my editorial is, you know, frequently the guys sign up to, you know, load the cars. That is the slacker department, if ever I saw one.
Wait a minute. I did that last
And there's actually many jobs, so, you know, like, I've had enough of people usually by the time the Christmas store
How was
hits.
that book that you read the last time when you were there?
That was Barb.
She has her own chair.
Yeah. There, you know, we have greeters, but there are many jobs, whether you want to interact with the people or if you want to just interact with the stuff, or there's many jobs. Well, you have to bring your own snacks, though, they told us.
How are jobs for people that can't walk great?
Then you wouldn't want to pick a runner job.
Okay, but there's stuff we can do. Can you film
Yeah,
it? Can we help?
like
Build
there's
boxes.
I don't know what it's called, but like it's my favorite job where they drop off the stuff, like the toys and stuff, and you close the bags, and they take another cart and go to the grocery store.
Okay.
So.
Yeah,
So I know that we could find you something.
Yeah, so there's a sign-up sheet back there. They collect over 70,000 in donations each year, and they buy all these things. Plus, people donate toys and gifts and all that. So it's quite the store, I understand. So just look at the time slip, sign up. It is at near Gold's Gym. If you remember where that is on Vivian Road, if you don't know, it's a Methodist church, just right nearby there. Right, so the general direction. Mark, let's see. Our good communications secretary has sent out email with the exact driving directions. So thank you.
Oh, and I just thought of another one that doesn't require walking: the box making.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's.
It requires like making a box.
Well, no, they have the boxes and you tape them.
Excellent.
So.
You're just requires any skill.
Yeah, no skill. Sorry.
Yeah, in just a couple of hours.
It's perfect for us. No skill.
And what day again?
It's
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
This coming Tuesday.
For short notice, sorry about that, but things got messed up last week, so, you know, right, okay. So what else, other announcements?
Yes,
Go ahead.
the post office is open.
Ah, there you go.
I have elves waiting for your cards.
Good morning, Alice. Okay.
The diva
There
and
are
the.
already cards to be picked up, so you might want to check to see if your name is there.
Well, we haven't got them sorted yet. We might or might not get them sorted this
Ready,
week.
quiet.
We'll see.
So lazy elves. Okay.
Lazy elves, yeah.
We're not gonna do that. I have one little announcement, and that is we're gonna try a little different thing this morning with the facilitator. Instead of me being in the way other time, I'm gonna try to just get things started and let these good people do what they do, okay? And it's even a little more difficult this morning because we have an extra card. So let's just try to see what happens, okay? We ring the bowl, the universal oneness and field of vibration that unites us in love and peace. Our candle represents the Christ-like presence in all of us. I'm Mark Ballard, you already know that. I have an extra thing with me today. I screwed up my elbow, so it'll be better next year. Nothing to it. I'd like to read to you the mission, and then I'll ask you for help with the vision. The Center for Universal Oneness is a place where those who want support on their spiritual journey may join with others for mutual encouragement, inspiration, and guidance. The center draws on those practices based in New Thought and metaphysical approaches. You'll do that. The higher Christ consciousness provides the foundation. We strive to live in the oneness of love. And now if you'd help me with the vision.
Extending into the world faith, love, peace, and joy.
And that's your assignment for this week. Okay? We have the joy of having both John Hardesty, a regular, and Jason Eric Belair. Pretty close? Okay then. And they're going to tell you more about them. Okay? So we'll know more about that here in just a minute. And if we could.
Even before the fall of Jerusalem, life for the Hebrews was pretty bleak, but their prophet Isaiah predicted a brighter future in the 9th chapter of Isaiah. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. For those who lived in a land of deep shadows, on them light shines. We too have every reason to expect better things to come. We recognize this hope as a powerful force that unites us as it navigates us through challenging times. As we have hope, we spread hope to others who long for it. Let us unite in hope as the light that shines and reveals a higher consciousness. Joined together in hope, we focus on expectations of good outcomes instead of things that harm or divide us. We light the candle of hope as an illuminating power that prepares us for Christmas.
Good job.
Join me in prayer, please. We quiet our mind. We open our hearts. And we focus on the divine, knowing that we are surrounded and imbued with the love of God. We are so thankful that we have the opportunity to come together as spiritual beings and to share that light within each of us with one another, and then extending that light into the world through our faith and love, our peace and joy. It is during this time of Advent that we totally recognize our oneness with all that is, and rejoice. Rejoice. Amen.
Can you hear me okay? So before I play this morning, my wife and I, pardon me, have been studying A Course in Miracles for several months now, just the two of us, and it's just making such an incredible impact on both of us individually and as a couple. And as I was about to leave the house this morning, I looked at her and I said, I've just had a download and I'm going to post it on Facebook during this season. And then I said, you know what, I want to share that with you. So with your permission, and I guess without it,
Honesty, there you go.
yes. So what occurred to me is that there's all this talk of praying for peace. And what I believe now out of the Course of A Course in Miracles is that praying for something is outside ourselves. And rather than do that, I would invite you to be peace. And I believe that if everybody on this planet would be peace with the authenticity and commitment that that requires, that we wouldn't see war anymore. So that's my download for the morning. And now I'll download, these are my prayers.
best talk of all. Yeah. Thank you, John. Well, rattle this. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I see the embodiment of this word hope here in this room. I've done some scouting on you people. Yeah. And I've seen some of these very interesting characters like myself that you have called forth into your presence to share some really great ideas and to maybe stir your bucket a little bit. Keep you in that growth, keep you in that knowing, keep that flow opening up in your life. And it hit me when I was speaking with Barb about what it would be that I may come to share with you. Because I feel like myself, you all are kind of inner journey adventurers. And you may or may not lean towards kind of people telling you what's true and what's not. Might not settle with you too much either. And you might, for instance, want to kind of discover it for yourself, even if it might be written in some really fancy book somewhere. It might have been written for a really long time, or it may be something that's new, but you seem to be the kind of crowd that really wants to know for yourself. And to me, that is exactly what this candle was lit for today. That's the hope. that's the hope of glory, is that person that is right there expressing the divine will stay awake. And sometimes along this journey, for me, that's, I think, ended up being maybe the most important thing, is that I just remember. I'm constantly setting little reminders for myself, because it's like I have this really great discovery or this profound realization about myself or about life, and then all of a sudden I'm back in some pattern of my thinking, and it's some childhood thing, and I think, well, wait, didn't we heal that? Aren't we over that already? And so that's kind of some foundation to the talk today that was inspired, which is what I was thinking was. Now, how many of you have been in a situation where, maybe like myself, you heard the words, "Oh my God, what were you thinking?" Right? Yeah, I think about almost every hand or laughter rippled through. And so when I was little, I didn't know that was like any kind of guidance. I thought people really wanted to know. So when my mom would ask me, "Oh God, son, what were you thinking?" "Oh, well, Mom, I was thinking by opening all the gates and letting the horses out that they would have so much fun with me. And we would play, and it would be like in the movie, and I would be running, and I would just jump on them bareback, and we would have such a great time." And now that it's hours after the family has been off of work, and we're still down the road miles from the house trying to find what belongs to us or not, I still didn't think that necessarily there was anything wrong with the choice that I made, because nobody ever followed up. They just wanted to know what I was thinking. So I thought we're all on the same page. You can see, they say that it was because I was the youngest of the family that I got away with so much more. But in hindsight, I don't know if that's necessarily true, or if I just kept the audacity to continue to do it. And so one Christmassy time, I don't know if it was quite yet Christmas, but I know it was close enough that presents were a threat. We were in that phase, right? Like they could maybe be taken away, but we better watch our P's and Q's. We were at least that deep into the Advent season. And so when I came in with some really bright orange color on my hands and misted across the edges of my frozen eyebrows, and my mom's eyes got really big, and I was like, "Oh my God, what did he do now?" And at this time we had moved from the country, and we were now living in civilization, all the other people. And I didn't know that there was different rules for city than there was for country as well. And people would want to know what it was that I was actually thinking by doing what I was doing there too, maybe even more so. And so my mom came outside, and she's like, "Son, what did you do? What is this color, and what oh God have you done?" And I was like, "Well, I decorated for Christmas. I'm really excited. Like, do you want to see? I drew a picture." And she's like, "Yeah, show me what you did," because she knew this was definitely not just any old picture that your kid drew. And so when we went outside and we saw the neighbor's house that faced ours, and that beautiful brick, and how I had spray painted it with fluorescent orange. It was so beautiful. It was just, like, it was so beautiful to me. Now, the runs and the cracks and all those little crevices in the brick, there's a lot. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to count just even one row. As I scrubbed it for days, I found out just how many cracks there were and how I could actually spray higher than I could reach, which I didn't know that I did, so that was like an artist accomplishment. But again, she asked the question, son, what were you thinking? And so, of course, naturally, my mind had developed this awesome response was, well, what I was thinking was, and I would fill in the blank with, because it was always something good. It was always something heartfelt, something like that was really important to me. And again, nobody ever told me there was something, some bit of reflection maybe that would occur after that. And so as I became an adult, all of a sudden, employers and soon-to-be ex-spouses and all these people kept having a real problem with what it was I was thinking. And I thought, well, but it's so genuine, it's so heartfelt. I mean no harm to anybody. Like, what? Why are you so angry? And why are you asking me what I was thinking? Because I'm telling you, and you're even more angry. Like, come on, cut me some slack here. And I got to hearing words like, oh, you're justifying your behavior. What? No, I'm being honest. Like, I was really thinking that would be fun. I don't know. And again, not getting the results that I want in life still tends to be a prompt. You know, I still want to see what it is that I want to see. So in those cases that I thought it would be so fun or be so exhilarating or whatever, when it turned out to be a train wreck, that was not fun anymore. And so I kind of slowly started to pick up on my own that I wasn't getting really the time that I thought I was going to have. The results were not equaling what it was I set out for. And so I thought, being the brilliant young man that I am, I thought, something maybe could change here. I didn't really realize that that was me, because I still at that time thought, I can show them, you know, what it is. Like, they'll come around, because once they understand that I really mean no harm, then we won't have a problem. Yeah, that's not a real thing. And fake fingernails can break off in skin. All these cat fights can happen, and stuff can go awry in this situation. And I was thinking about it because, you know, Paul Hasselback, who is recently, I think regularly comes to visit you all. He was one of my instructors. Part of my announcement that I would make about myself is that I'm recently a graduate of the Licensed Unity Teacher Program, and so I've got to study under Paul in the New Thought metaphysical studies pretty deeply. I love the man. I love what he shakes loose from the excuse zone and the patterning that we live in, and that's part of what I got from studying with him was that this was just a pattern. And so early in my metaphysical studies, I looked at things like that because I thought, if I'm the divine presence, in whatever capacity I want to believe that that's true, then my good intentions, this thing that I'm thinking, must be valid in some way, must have some kind of power and presence if I'm part of that one power and presence. In fact, if I am that one presence and power, then that may be the most important thing for me to keep in mind is what it is I was really thinking, what I was coming from, and to look deeper and deeper into that. And so instead of fighting against these accusations that I heard of justifying my behavior or trying to make excuses for myself or whatever may have come, I took a deeper dive. Finding nothing to resist in what the people were saying, I could go into it. And I could get down to the threads that actually brought it forth. And what I found under a lot of good intentions was a lot of hiding. There was a lot of fear. of judgment. There was a lot of mix of fundamentalist upbringing and punishment, and lots of that stuff mangled down there, hiding in the roots that had prompted that. So where I may be inspired to bring fun and joy into a situation, it could be what I found is that I was hiding the fact that I would be punished if things got too serious, if things got too stressful, if things weren't fun. There was a potential for danger, and it was probably going to land somewhere back there, somewhere. And so I didn't realize that this was part of the foundation of my personality. And I didn't want to give it any power over my presence, but I had to realize that this is something I had shaped and formed. And so I had to take responsibility for this personality, who had picked up a lot of these kinds of habits along the way. And so part of what I do now with my company called Expressing Oneness, and all of the work I do in New Thought communities in general, is to take people into an experience of kind of breaking loose from that, from being able to honor the place that we're at in any given time or situation, and to use that as a funnel to take us deeper into what's real within, what's already been formed in consciousness. And then, as Paul reminds us often, what's in the adjacent possible? What is just outside of that limitation? What is just beyond the reach of that expression that we can grow into, that we're ready to expand into? And so we've been talking a little bit, Barb and I, about when I return doing a full session with the community here. And so I'll probably have this whole middle ground, I'll be in like a little pod of instruments, and I'll play for you. I'll take you through a full guided experience in this. And that's really, in fact, I have one next weekend. I'm teaching Myrtle Fillmore's Healing Letters. And the way that I button that class up with, which I do for most of mine, is an experiential exercise, to where we're not just reading the book or theorizing about what could or could not be. We take ourselves into our own experience to apply it. And so we'll do a 4-hour practice next weekend on that. But we'll dive deep into that the next time that I come. And so today I want you to hold that nugget in your mind. Maybe look at what has been some motives, what has been some underlying drive that has led to a little bit of miscreation. You know, I like to play in that. I like to dance with my shadow, and I invite you all to do that as well. You know, look, what little mischievous thing about yourself have you taken on that's causing you to avoid some relationships or some depth in some? What is it that's a little bit in the shadows in your experience that's calling for this light of hope during this Advent season? You know, that's where the potential for the greatest growth is really resting, is right there on that little shadowy thing that we're keeping so treasured, keeping a little bit hidden away. Just like with myself, I wanted to look at it as innocent and fun. There was some hurt. There was some pain underneath all that was ready to be nurtured, which is why it wanted to have fun. It just couldn't get healed with a Band-Aid, that's all. It needed the kiss. You know, it needed the kiss on it so it would get a little deeper. So we're going to go into a little bit of sound now, and we're going to just make something up to begin with, because, you know, that's what you guys are all about. So I'm going to do just a little time in this experience with sound and vibration. And as I do, I want to invite you, like I said, into the acknowledgement of a little bit of that shadow. Maybe during this talk, I have said some things that have reminded you of a time. Maybe there's a few things that bubbled up or that you can feel in the field that we've created here together. And you can sense some areas of life where, yeah, that pattern's been showing up. Or, yeah, you know, she mentioned to me that thing and it sure reminded me of what my mama used to say when I was little. Ugh. That's okay. That's okay. So as we take this into meditation, I want to invite you to just let that rise up. You know, your community has lit this candle of hope to begin this Advent time. And that's really what's waiting right there for you. As you allow that shadow to rise up to the surface, maybe it'll ride on the sounds and the vibrations of this music that you feel and experience. And just know that as you're feeling it, it's rising up into the light of hope. And for this season, and especially for this day, I can't imagine leaving you with anything better than to have a little bit of those shadows lit up. So with that, we begin. I invite you to uncross your hands and feet. If you need to relieve your lap of any items, please feel free to set them on the floor. Find the comfort and support of the seat beneath you. Acknowledging the breath as it flows deeply in the body and out. Observing how this simple internal focus starts to calm the eager mind and body. The time now is simply to observe. Allow what is ready to rise freely into the light. release into the light all that come between us. Acknowledging our wholeness, acknowledging this presence and power that I am. In this expression of oneness, we give great thanks. This time of work has come to a close. We release all that does not serve. We transmute any ideas of separation into the acknowledgement now of our wholeness. There is but one presence. For this and so much more, we give great thanks. So it is.
Let's do an offering while John plays. Can you hold that basket with me and pray this like you mean it? Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am joy-filled and great.
What are you looking for, Campers?
We are really lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Community concerns. Have we any, or are we lucky enough not to? Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, old friend of mine, Tom Fodovich, lives in the Parkville area in the hospital with a heart ablation. And then Abby Sullivan, I've asked for prayers for her before, Denver, Colorado, suffering from epilepsy.
Bummer. Okay. Shall we begin?
I have a friend who is a breast cancer survivor and who will be going in for yet another biopsy after 20 years in about a week or so.
Can you tell us your name?
No.
Okay then, it's fine. Nikki's friend. Yes.
Years ago, I had a young man show up on my doorstep. He was a son of a cousin, and he stayed with me for a while. I kind of befriended him. This was up in Seattle. Oh, it was probably 25 years ago. And he went on, got married, ended up with a divorce, moved up to Canada, and ended up raising two boys by himself, who he was real close to. And I just found out yesterday his two sons had a terrible accident up there. His oldest son is on a ventilator right now. And I know how close he is to those boys, and I want to call him because over the years I've maintained a relationship with him, and I'm just hoping I can find the right words to encourage her.
Hard to, but, right?
Thoughts on that, would be appreciated.
Others?
On the 17th, my son has an ablation on the little tumor that remains in his liver. I just like us all to hold a vision of it, of everything disappearing and good health.
Well, with those things, oh, Karen?
Our brother-in-law lost Doug's sister just about a year ago, and it's a tough week for him. His name is Ron.
So with those things in mind, please follow me in the prayer. If you will. Centering our hearts and minds in prayer, we let go of any thoughts of worry or challenge, and simply rest in stillness. We know that our source of strength and peace comes from God alone. We give thanks for divine order and trust that we are all held in the power of grace.
And so, since Advent starts today, I Googled what might work for Advent that wasn't necessarily religious. And the song Silver Bells came up. And so I know most of you probably know that. You've got the words in front of you now, and I've jacked it down into a key which I think you'll be able to sing a little better than the original one. So let's give it a try.
Thank you, John. That was beautiful. And thank you, Jason. That was a wonderful experience. When you had the flute going, and then the gong going, and then the bowl going, I was wondering, how many hands does he have? Let us stand, please, for the closing prayer. You know, in Christmas time, it's once we get over our reluctance to be so busy with all the things that go on during the season, it's much easier to forget our own hustle and bustle and become one with the spirit of the season. And as we go forward into the world this morning, I would encourage you to just be open to the Spirit that is within us all, loving us every moment, shining its light within us whenever we are open and receptive to it, and being willing, just a little willingness to be a part of it. Thank you, God. Amen.
Amen.
Likewise.
Look, watch out here.